Hello, YouTube. It's Jay. I'm back with another talking video. So, if you don't like the sound of my voice, this video is going to be grating. Okay, so I'm out on a scorcher of a day out in Texas. I'm in full mesh gear. It's extremely hot. This mesh will probably be useless if I go down, but I guess it makes me feel better on the inside. Well, one of my kind of better riding areas. Not amazing, but there's some turns around here. Anyway, so I wanted to talk today about my FJ-09. This is a 2016 FJ-09. What I've liked about the bike and what I've disliked. I've had it for almost exactly a year now. And it's been an absolute fantastic bike, and I've really enjoyed riding it. Whew. It's back into standard mode. Anyways, yeah, I've really enjoyed riding this bike. I want to talk about some of the things that bothered me, some of the things that have changed, and what I like and dislike about the bike. So first up, on things that I really like about this bike. And this covers so many bases, but it's the engine in this thing. Yamaha has got this magic triple engine and a 900cc engine, and it is so good. It's it's a triple, so it's got a nice sound to it. It goes really well. It's got a lot of torque. It's so usable. It's so sporty. It spins up so fast. So it just makes for an all-around, just fantastic engine. Thank you. And I've loved it. It's really, it makes it kind of hard to want to upgrade to a different motorcycle with this engine. And I really don't want to lose this engine because it's such a good engine. But I've really enjoyed the engine on it. It's just a phenomenal engine. The second thing I really like about this bike is this category, this kind of lighter sport touring category that this bike is in. It's just perfect for me. I can go distance on it. I can have a lot of fun. It's still light, agile. I can throw it around. I don't think I'll ever stray from this category of motorcycle. I think no matter how many motorcycles I have, hopefully a couple dozen someday, I'll have a sport touring mount. And it's just perfect. You can do everything. And for where I live, in Houston, you end up on highways so much. So you got to have something with wind protection. If you're going to do anything comfortably, you got to have something with wind protection. And something that's pretty comfortable because Houston's just so big. For me to get out here to ride today, it took me about 40 minutes because I live closer to the city, so it's good to have something with some touring capability, even if it's light like this one. I mean, this isn't like an iron butt type motorcycle that you would take for 1,000 miles. It's not quite that good, but it's good enough to make these day rides really nice. The third thing I like about this motorcycle is the electronics. It's like a good amount. So this bike has traction control, a few rider modes. It has A, standard, and B, which A is aggressive, standard is kind of normal, which I usually keep it in, and B, which is kind of a rain mode. I use it like if I'm going to be stopping and going a lot, just smooths out the throttle response a little bit. Makes it a little bit more boring, but it's good for stopping and starting. A mode is just and pretty uncomfortable, honestly. Oh, I think it went the wrong way. That's okay, I'll just stay here. Anyways, like I was saying, A mode is it just makes the throttle really sharp, which I'm not sure what you would want that for. It seems just as fast in standard mode as in A, so I keep it in A. But what I like about the electronics is it's got a perfect amount to just help you when you need it. The traction control, if the wheel gets spinning for some reason, the ABS if you lock up, but you don't ever feel it. You don't really know it's there, and that's just perfect for riding because these newer bikes have some amazing electronics, wheelie control, launch control, you know, lean sensitive IMUs, and I think those are great, but you don't really need that. This one just like has just enough to like kind of save you if you're going to get into something sticky. So I really like that about the bike, the amount of electronics. And so those are really big things. I'm not like super picky about motorcycle. I like riding, and I'll find something I like about each bike. You know, it's not perfect, but I've really enjoyed riding this one. Takes quite a bit of construction there. So we'll move on to the things that I don't like about this bike. No motorcycle is perfect, and you ride anything for a year, you do a lot of miles on something, you will end up finding some things that, you know, aren't perfect or things that you would change if you could. And for me, the glaring thing on this bike that bothers me quite a bit is the wind protection on it. It's not great. That stock windshield that comes with the FJ-09, the 2015 to the 2017, is like a Buffett machine. It's a like sticking your head on a washer simulator. It's not great. And I tried a few things. I put I tried all the different positions. This is adjustable, so you can move it up and down. I tried a deflector on it, which worked pretty well, but it still buffeted it at higher speeds, and it kind of shook the windscreen. And I found that the best thing, and I've seen so many forums about this, was getting a shorter one, just a shorter one. Like my whole like body, you know, up to here is in the wind blast, but it's so smooth, and like a nice aerodynamic windscreen in the shortest position has been the main solution for this, and it's worked really well. So that's been my biggest thing. Now it is absolutely possible to put a big old windscreen on this thing, but I think it just ruins the look of the bike. The Yamaha touring screen is one of the most hideous looking windscreens I've ever seen. It's like a barn door of a windscreen, just absolutely hideous. So I think, you know, you can design a bike with a good wind protection that still looks good. And if I was all about, you know, just making this a better, you know, having better wind protection, I'd have a big old windscreen on it. But looks are important, I think. The next thing I disliked about this bike, which I changed, but was the stock seat. The stock seat was really hard, really uncomfortable. I did a trip to Dallas, and that day I went there, stayed a few days, came back, and when I got home, I ordered a new seat. Now I got a Sargent seat, and it's really nice. It's a bit wider. In my opinion, it looks a little better, looks a little more premium, and even the passenger seat is more comfortable. So I've really liked the upgrade in the seat. I was kind of on the fence of getting a Corbin seat because those are I think a little bit better than this seat, but again, I didn't like the looks of it. I tried to balance the looks and try to balance the looks and the function on the motorcycle, and I'm just going to go off here, go off the pavement just a bit. There we go. But yeah, so that stock seat wasn't amazing, and yeah, I wish it was a little bit better, which I think they've solved on the Tracer. And the next thing that I wish was different on this bike, the 2015 to 2017 model FJ-09, was the cruise control, which they solved on the Tracer. It's on the new Tracer 900 GT. That thing's got a cruise control, a new dash, a quick shifter, so a lot of things that I'd want on my next bike anyway are on there, and it's really nice. So that having cruise control on this bike would be make this perfect. Like, I think this would be just a perfect bike if it had cruise control. But I really like this bike overall. A couple of things that I kind of thought back to some other things I like about this bike. The handling on it is so good, and it may be the tires that I have on it. When I bought this bike used, it had Michelin 5s on it, which nice, VMAX, which I've heard the Michelin 5s are fantastic on this bike, and it's hard to say because I haven't rode on the stock tires for this bike, but I love it. And when I upgrade my tires, I'm probably going to get Michelin 5s again. Also, another thing that the previous owner added to this bike that it's really nice is the heated grips. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, you're in Houston. You've been talking about how hot it is. Why the hell would you want heated grips? It's actually kind of perfect for this climate because when it gets to like fall, spring, wintertime, it's really cold in the morning, but super hot in the evening. So if you get your winter weight gloves, you go out in the morning ride, 9 a.m. to go ride, and you're freezing because you know it's pretty cold in the mornings during the fall and part of the winter. You know you're stuck with those gloves all day unless you pack another pair of gloves, which you can do. You can stop and switch your gloves, but it's perfect for here because during those mornings where it's really cold, I wear my summer gloves or perforated gloves, lighter weight gloves, and I just turn on the heated grips, and then when it gets a little cooler or warmer during the day, I turn those suckers off, and I've got a perfect day worth of riding. So I like that. I never thought I would like heated grips as much as I do, but I really enjoy having heated grips on the bike. There's another thing that this bike has spoiled me on that I will probably have for my next bike. So I wanted to address a few things that people say about this bike. Maybe just one main thing is the on and off throttle response. A lot of people complain about that, especially with the 2015 model. I don't know if this bike, again, I bought this bike used, and it had a new, a slip-on exhaust, and I don't know if they did an ECU flash to even out the throttle mapping or something like that. But I haven't really noticed it. It was more aggressive than my last bike. I had an XSR 700 for a year, and it was definitely more of an aggressive throttle than that, but you kind of get used to it, and then there's just times where you just don't go all the way off the throttle that I think smooths it out, and then you can put it in B mode, and it'll definitely smooth it out quite a bit. So this is just some of the things that people typically talk about. I read another article where somebody took an FJ-09 off a curve and just caught the drain plug. So people talk about the ground clearance. It's a tall-looking adventure-style bike, but it definitely doesn't have a ton of ground clearance. I wouldn't take it. I've taken it in gravel and stuff before, and it's not really confidence-inspiring, so I wouldn't suggest that. But yeah, well, those are all the things that I like and dislike about this bike. There's a ton of other things that I've found, and there's probably more things that I'll find that I dislike or just can't live without on my next. Can't live without on my next bike. And I'm always shopping for motorcycles. Eventually, I'll have another one, but. Anyways, that wraps up my thoughts. Thanks for riding with me. We'll see you around.